Previously on part 1. I found out my boyfriend Jack and my best friend Sienna had been planning my death for $50,000. I walked into their trap anyway, survived, and called the one person who might help me destroy them. Damien Cole, the billionaire Texio I tried to rob a week earlier. I met Damien at his penthouse at 3 a.m. Most billionaires would have called security, but when I stepped out of that elevator into his penthouse, 60 floors above Miami, Damien was standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows like he'd been waiting. "Ms. Reyes," he said, not even turning around. "I was wondering when you'd call." That stopped me cold. "You were expecting me?" He turned then. "Those gray eyes. You walked into a building knowing it was a trap. You fought 5 armed men and won. Then you called me instead of running." Ismaya. "I was expecting you." Adrian stepped out from the shadows. "Always there. Always watching." "She's clean," Adrian said. "No weapons. No wire. Just pissed off." Damien gestured to the leather couch. "Sit. Tell me everything. And this time don't leave anything out." So I did. I told him about Jack. About Sienna. About Viktor Petrov and the contract on my head. About the photos Marcus left on my desk. About walking into that trap and surviving. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Then, "How did you know I was fake?" I asked. "At the gala. You made me in 30 seconds. My cover was perfect." "How?" Damien smiled slightly. "I run my own surveillance on anyone who gets close to me. Had Adrian dig into your background the moment you appeared on the guest list. Your cover was good. But your digital footprint said, security professional, not investor. The way you moved said, operative, not socialite. I knew what you were before you ever walked in. So no one from my team tipped you off?" "No. Though clearly someone on your team is compromised. Just not by me." That was oddly comforting. "All right," I said. "So what now?" He walked to his desk, pulled out a folder, slid it across to me. "I've been expecting this conversation long enough to have Adrian draft a contract." I opened it. Employment agreement. 1 year. 6 months probation. Head of corporate security. Salary that made my eyes water. "My company has been targeted by people like you for years," Damien said. "Corporate spies. Hackers. Competitors trying to steal what I've built. You clearly have skills in that area. So here's the deal. You help me protect what's mine, I help you destroy what's theirs. That's it. That's it. 1 year contract, 6 months probation. You work for me. I give you the resources, the cover, the time you need to take down Jack, Sienna, and Viktor. When it's done, you're free to leave. Or stay. Your choice." It was too good to be true. But I was out of options. Why 6 months probation? Because revenge takes time. Do it too fast, it looks suspicious. Too slow, Viktor finds you. 6 months gives us time to build an airtight case, fake your death properly, and destroy them in ways they can't come back from. After that, if you want to stay on, we negotiate a new contract. He had a point. I picked up the pen. Sign my name. "Welcome to Cole Technologies, Maya Reyes." The first thing I did was call Marcus. Damien gave me privacy for it, though I'm sure Adrian was listening from somewhere. Marcus answered on the first ring. "Maya? He says, are you alive? The guards reported you escaped, but there's been no sign." "I'm alive. I'm safe. But Marcus, I need you to do something for me. Anything. I need you to tell Jack I'm dead." Silence. "Maya. Listen to me. The guards reported I escaped, but Viktor doesn't believe Jack anymore. He knows Jack's either incompetent or lying. So we're going to give Viktor what he wants. Proof that I'm dead. You tell Jack the guards caught up with me, that they killed me, that you recovered my body. Viktor will want proof. Then we'll give him proof. Damien has connections. We can make this look real." More silence. "You're working with Cole now." Not a question. "Yes. Maya, I know what betrayal feels like. I know you want revenge. But men like Damien Cole, they don't do favors. They make investments. Make sure you know what he's invested in." "I do. My skills. And my anger. That's what I'm afraid of." Then he said something that surprised me. "Jack and Sienna didn't just try to kill you, Maya. They destroyed my business. 3 of my best clients dropped me after those operations went south. Said I couldn't be trusted to keep their secrets. Jack and Sienna cost me everything I built. But, so it wasn't just loyalty. So you want revenge too. I want my reputation back. And I want them to pay for thinking they could burn me and walk away. Then help me. Tell Jack I'm dead. Sell it. Make Viktor believe it. And after we give you evidence that proves Jack was the leak. Evidence that gets your clients back. Deal. Deal." Faking a death is harder than it looks. Especially when the people you're faking it for are trained professionals who know what to look for. But Damien had resources I didn't. And Adrian had skills that I didn't ask too many questions about. 72 hours later, there was a body. Well, not a body, but dental records that matched. Medical examiner reports. Witness statements. Even a death certificate. Maya Reyes, 28. Killed during a botched robbery. Body recovered from the Everglades. Positive ID via dental records. The hardest part was my mother. You can't tell her yet, Damien said. Victor has people watching her. If she knows you're alive, she'll act differently. She'll give it away. So I let my mother think I'm dead? For now. When it's safe, when Victor's handled, you tell her everything. But right now, her grief has to be real. I hated it. But he was right. So my mother buried an empty casket. And I watched from a distance. Adrian drove me. Kept the car far enough away that no one would see. But I watched my mother cry over a grave that held nothing. Watched her collapse. Watched Sienna show up. Wearing black. Crying. Playing the devastated best friend. Posting on Instagram. Gone but never forgotten. Love you forever, Maya. Broken heart. The comments were full of people sending condolences. Telling her how strong she was. How lucky I'd been to have a friend like her. I wanted to kill her right there. But Adrian's hand on my shoulder stopped me. Patience, he said quietly. Let her think she won. Let her get comfortable. Then we take everything. He was right. But God, it was hard. Damien didn't let me stay in his penthouse. Not full-time anyway. I have staff, he said. Cleaners. A chef who comes 3 times a week. People who would ask questions if a dead woman was living in my guest room. Instead, he set me up in another unit in the same building. 20 floors down. Same building, different wing. Private. Secure. And empty except for me. Adrian will be nearby if you need anything, Damien said, showing me around. But you'll have privacy. Space to think. To heal. I don't need to heal. I need to work. You need both. He was probably right. But I didn't want to admit it. The first week was the hardest. I couldn't go outside. Couldn't risk being seen. Couldn't contact anyone except Marcus, Damien, and Adrian. I was a ghost. Dead to the world. And it was driving me insane. That's when Adrian knocked on my door at 6 a.m. Jim, no. You're wasting energy being angry. Put it somewhere useful. For the next 2 hours, he broke down every mistake I'd made in that fight at the pharmaceutical building. Every dropped guard. Every wasted movement. Every moment I'd gotten lucky instead of skilled. You survived because they were amateurs, he said. Next time you won't be that lucky. So we're going to make you better. And he did. Every morning. 6 a.m. Relentless. Patient. Professional. And slowly I got better. Faster. Sharper. Deadlier. 3 weeks in, Damien knocked on my door with coffee and a tablet. I need to show you something. He pulled up a video. Security footage from a hotel in Brickell. Jack and Sienna. Celebrating. Champagne. New clothes. Looking like they just won the lottery. Because they had. Victor had paid them. They think they're safe, Damien said. Jack's been freelancing. Picking up jobs through intermediaries. Marcus has been feeding him fake leads through back channels. Keeping him busy. Keeping him confident. And Sienna? She just landed a major influencer deal. Some skincare company. They're promising to pay her 6 figures to be their face. Which company? He told me. I knew it. Cheap products. Overpriced. Made with ingredients that barely worked. She's been promoting them as miracle products, Damien continued. Telling her followers they changed her life. Even though she's only been using them for 2 weeks. It's all lies. But her followers believe it. Perfect. What else? Jack's been seeing someone. Not Sienna. Someone new. But it's not serious. He's just using her. And Sienna? Damien's mouth twitched. Sienna posted yesterday about Derek. The hotel guy. Apparently he dumped her. Said she was too desperate for attention. She's been posting crying selfies all week. Good. Let her suffer. For weeks in, Damien asked me to join him for dinner. Not at a restaurant. At his penthouse. My chef's making something special, he said. And I thought, you might be tired of eating alone. I was. So I went. The dinner was incredible. But what surprised me was Damien himself. He asked about my mother. About growing up in Little Havana. About why I'd chosen this life. And when I asked him about his past, he actually answered. I was engaged once, he said quietly. To my business partner. We built the company together. I thought we were building a life together. What happened? She tried to steal it. The company. Had lawyers draft paperwork transferring ownership to her. Forged my signature. By the time I found out, she'd already sold half our intellectual property to a competitor. Jesus. I got it back. Eventually. Cost me millions in legal fees in 3 years of my life. But I learned something important. What? That the people closest to you are the ones who can hurt you most. So I stopped letting people close. He looked at me. Until recently. My heart did something complicated. Why now? Because I see something in you that I saw in myself. Someone who refused to break. Someone who chose to fight instead of run. And I thought, maybe it's time to stop being alone. I didn't know what to say to that. So I didn't say anything. Just let the moment sit between us. Comfortable. Complicated. And maybe, the beginning of something. 6 weeks in, we made our first move. The military. Jack's former unit. Damien had connections in the Department of Defense. And those connections were very interested to learn that former Marine Jack Morrison had been selling classified information to Russian intelligence. Information he'd had access to during his service. Information that had gotten people killed. It wasn't true. Well, not entirely. But it was close enough that when the military investigators started digging, they found things. Small things. Inconsistencies in Jack's discharge papers. Questions about missions that went wrong. Money transfers that didn't make sense. Nothing concrete. But enough to open an investigation. Enough to put him under surveillance. Enough to destroy his reputation. Within a week, other veterans he'd worked with started throwing him under the bus. Some to protect their own secrets. Some because they didn't want the disrespect to touch the military itself. His name was Poison. And when he tried to deny it, nobody believed him. Because the military had released a statement. Under investigation for potential security breaches. His ego shattered. The tough guy. The Marine. The Alpha. Reduced to a suspected traitor hiding in his apartment. 8 weeks in, Sienna started to unravel. It started small. Her engagement dropping. Followers leaving. Comments turning mean. Why are you promoting this? This product broke me out. This is such a scam. You don't even use this. You're so fake. Everything about you is fake. He tried to fight back. Posted more. Worked harder. But the internet smells blood. And once they turn on you, they don't stop. Then the beauty company found out she'd been lying. That she'd been using a completely different skincare routine. They dropped her. Publicly. With a statement claiming Sienna had created her own formula and tried to pass off their products as hers. We're severing ties with Sienna Blake after discovering she misrepresented our brand and created unauthorized product formulations. It was a lie. But it worked. Her Instagram became a war zone. Her followers turned into a mob. Everything she'd built. Everything she'd killed for. Gone in 72 hours. But we weren't done. 10 weeks in, Jack got arrested. Not by local police. By the FBI. Corporate espionage. Conspiracy to commit murder. Selling classified information to foreign nationals. Evidence everywhere. Including recorded conversations with Victor that Marcus and I had helped the FBI obtain. I watched from a distance as they put him in handcuffs. Watched his face as he realized his life was over. He didn't go quietly. Fought. Tried to run. Made it about 50 feet before 2 agents tackled him. And all I felt was empty. This man had shared my bed. Had made me believe he loved me. And now he was face down on pavement screaming about his rights. He gave up Sienna in the first hour, Adrian told me later. Blamed everything on her. Said she was the mastermind. That he was just following her lead. Of course he did. Coward to the end. 12 weeks in, I met Sienna. Not by accident. I planned it. She didn't know I was alive. Nobody did except Damien, Adrian, and Marcus. So when I walked into that Brickell Café, the same one where she called me jealous, wearing a designer dress that actually belonged to me now, hair different, shorter, more polished, darker, subtle but obvious transformation, she looked at me like she was seeing a ghost. Because she was. I sat down across from her without asking. Hello, Sienna. She couldn't speak. Just stared. Surprised to see me? I asked. I'd say it's good to see you, but we both know that would be a lie. Maya, how, you're dead? Yeah, about that. Turns out I'm harder to kill than you thought. Her face went pale. Those men you paid? They failed. And then I spent 3 months making sure you'd pay for what you did. I didn't want to. Don't. My voice cut like ice. Don't lie to me. Not now. You sold me out for money. You slept with my boyfriend while planning my death. You stood at my funeral and cried fake tears for Instagram likes. He was crying now. Real tears. Maya, please. I needed the money. Derek left me. I was broke. I didn't know what else to do. You could have asked me for help. But you didn't. Because you weren't just broke. You were jealous. She looked up at me. Jealous of what? Your life. Your dangerous job. Your broke boyfriend. Jealous that I was enough. That I didn't need to perform to have value. That people loved me for who I was, not what I looked like online. That's not. Isn't it? 10 years, Sienna. 10 years I made excuses for you. Defended you when people called you shallow. Sat through countless brunches while you took selfies and ignored me. Lent you money you never paid back. And the moment you saw a chance to profit from my death, you took it without hesitation. She was sobbing now. Full breakdown. People in the restaurant were staring. Good. Your deal with the beauty company? Gone. Instagram sponsors? Dropping you as we speak. Jack's lawyers are offering you up as a co-conspirator to reduce his sentence. And Viktor Petrov? He's very unhappy that you failed. I'd watch your back if I were you. I stood up. Looked down at her. This girl I'd loved like a sister. You wanted to be famous. You wanted everyone to know your name. Congratulations, Sienna. By tomorrow, everyone will know your name. Just not the way you wanted. I left her there, crying into her overpriced food. And I didn't look back. Not even once. 2 months after that, I got a call from Adrian. Waya, you need to see this. I went to Damien's penthouse. He had the news on. Influencer found dead in Biscayne Bay. My stomach dropped. Sienna. They found her at dawn. Face down in the water. Designer dress. Diamonds that weren't hers. The police called it suicide. Her family called it tragedy. Felt complicated. I'd wanted her to suffer. Wanted her to lose everything. But I hadn't wanted this. It's not your fault, Damien said quietly. Isn't it? I destroyed her life. She destroyed her own life. You just held up a mirror. Maybe. But it didn't feel that simple. Adrian pulled up something on his phone. They found drugs in her system. Heavy stuff. Looks like she'd been using for weeks. Depression from losing everything. Her followers. Her deals. Her future. I handed the phone back. Do you think you're a monster? Damien asked. I don't know, I said honestly. I wanted revenge. I got it. But this. I didn't want this. That's how you know you're not a monster, Adrian said. Monsters don't feel regret. Maybe he was right. Maybe I'd done what I had to do. Or maybe I was just like them. Someone willing to destroy people to protect myself. I didn't know anymore. 6 months after my death, I was officially alive again. Death certificate revoked. Clerical error. Happens more often than you'd think. I moved out of the building's guest unit. Got my own place. A real apartment. In Coconut Grove. Small but mine. Paid for with money I'd earned. Not stolen. Not borrowed. Earned. I was head of security for Cole Technologies. Real job. Real salary. Real life. My mother cried when she saw me. Held me for 20 minutes. Didn't let go. Never again, Mija. Never again do you do this to me. I promise, Mommy. Never again. She made me Café. We sat at that tiny kitchen table. And I told her everything. When I finished, she was quiet. Then, this man. Damien. You love him. Mommy. Do you love him? I thought about it. About 6 months of early morning coffee and late night conversations. About the way he looked at me like I was interesting instead of broken. About Adrian's patient training and Damien's quiet support. About feeling seen for the first time in years. I think I'm right. My mother nodded. This time you choose for you. Not for me. Not for anyone else. For you. And if he makes you happy, then I'm happy. It was the first time she'd ever said that. That night, Damien picked me up from the airport. I'd been in Tokyo for an extraction. Corporate executive kidnapped by a competitor. We got him back safely. Adrian sent his regards and said Damien owed him a raise. Damien said Adrian always said that. We drove through Miami streets. Past clubs and lights in the city I'd almost died in. Why, yeah. I'm proud of you. You've become what you've built. We built it. No. He stopped at a red light. Turned to face me. You built you. I just gave you space to do it. And that's when I knew. This wasn't settling. This wasn't accepting less than I deserved. This was choosing someone who saw all of me. The broken parts, the dangerous parts, the soft parts, and wanted all of it. I think I love you, I said. First time I'd said it. First time I'd been brave enough. His gray eyes softened. I know you do. And I love you too. Have for a while now. You're very confident. I'm patient. There's a difference. We drove home. To the penthouse that had become ours over the last few months. Not because I needed him. But because I wanted him. There's a difference. And I'd earned the right to know it. They found Sienna in the bay 3 weeks ago. The police called it suicide. Her family called it tragedy. I called it closure. Because I was done looking back. Done carrying the weight of other people's betrayals. Done being the girl who died in that building. I was someone new now. Someone who knew what she wanted. Someone who knew what she was worth. Someone who refused to settle for anything less. So do you think I'm a monster? Maybe. Maybe I destroyed Sienna as much as she destroyed herself. Maybe I'm not the hero in this story. But I'm not the villain either. I'm just someone who refused to die quietly. Someone who fought back. Someone who survived. And if that makes me a monster in someone else's story, I can live with that. I've survived worse. Before you go, I want to know what you think. Was it worth it? Would you have done the same? Or would you have walked away? Drop it in the comments. Team Maya. Or Team Walk Away. Because honestly, I still ask myself that question. Some nights more than others. This story hit different. If you saw yourself in any part of it, subscribe. Because next week, we have another story. Another woman. Another impossible choice. Another forbidden love you won't see coming. You don't want to miss it. I'll see you there.